I tried to say I'm sorry, I really miss the glory. Your wicked ways got me lying on the wicked road. Wake up, I'm still too tired. Dug the grave, put my fire. Your wicked ways got me lying on the wicked road.
Hello, I'm Sydney Badinsky, and this is my weekly vlog. Starting this Friday, we had our first period, exam period, going until Wednesday of next week, and then Thursday is our makeup day. It's been a little bit chaotic as our students try to finally get their assignments in for those that are still outstanding, but it's also been a really cool opportunity to see students who have finished everything and give them assignments that are smaller but also pertain to the content that we're trying to teach and the skills we're trying to make sure that we're solidifying with these courses. A student of mine actually had finished all of her homework and projects and asked me, could I make a music video? And I said, absolutely. I'm not going to stifle something like that inspiration that really has them encouraged about the content that we're trying to teach to them, and also just really nurture that love that they have for the content that we provide for them in these classes. On a separate note, the tech department in general is just a wonderful department that offers so many unique opportunities for these kids. It's nice to see that they're enjoying it and utilizing it to the best of their abilities. This week I had a rather touching moment with one of my students. She had confided in me that she wanted to be a communications technology teacher like myself in high school, and she had told me that being in my class had actually really helped ignite and spark that love for it, and that she told me that I had inspired her to pursue this career path after she graduates high school. It was a very touching moment. I had to hold myself back in a little bit because I didn't want to cry in front of the student. It really got to me emotionally, and it was just something that I was beaming for the rest of the day, and I still am beaming now. It was really touching and just moved me and solidified the fact that I want to be doing this with my life, and it shows that I am in some way making a positive contribution to these adolescents that are learning and deciding what they want to do when they are older. It's been a bit of a chaotic week as students try to wrap up their final assignments. Crunch time has been on, but I think a lot of them didn't realize how soon these deadlines were approaching until it was this week, and they're like, oh, exams start this week. I better get this in. I still have some students that claim they are working on their final projects. I hope that they get them finished within the week. I gave every class until their exam day to submit final assignments, and for a select few, I allowed to go over a day or two just because I know that they didn't have the resources and or opportunity to shoot the footage that they needed for those assignments. I'm trying to be lenient in this regard because if you did the work, I'm happily going to mark it always. In terms of the teaching the whole child strategies that I've personally implemented in my classroom, I would definitely say that the relevant transferable skills, again, echoing what I said earlier, the tech department is a wonderful opportunity to really get those hand-on experiences that are so valuable. Essentially, I'm trying to make sure that my students understand how to follow a procedure, how to pay attention while they're doing it to make sure that they're ticking all of the boxes that they need to for success. Again, this attention to detail is something that just goes beyond the classroom setting and can really be diversified into the whole of what we are doing here in our classrooms. Not only that, it teaches time management and organization, as a lot of my kids are now realizing during this crunch time that, oh, if I had managed my time a little bit better in class, I could have been done this by now. It's a lesson that hurts to learn later on, but I hope that they bring that knowledge into their next semester and into their life, because ultimately doing a little bit every day is far easier than just throwing it all on right before something is due. I would say that the majority of what I do is project-based learning. I try to do a mesh of a Socratic approach where I give them all of the information they need, and I hope that they take the initiative to try and put the pieces together to figure out what the whole picture is. I also go into depth of explaining if any of my students need to catch up. I love doing a review. In regards to my students' mental health, I make sure that they're able to take breaks when they need them, like my spoon system. It's been working very beneficially. Yes, some students have tried to take advantage of it. That is what it is. It's going to happen, and I was aware of that going into this. I'm glad that the students that really needed to be able to identify stress in a non-confrontational manner have learned to use this rest as a moment to recollect themselves and reorganize. In terms of design, our students are constantly designing things, whether they're the director and they're designing a theme and a script for the week. We have them doing layouts. We have them doing actual design for Illustrator. And in general, we just try to have them ensure that they're creating the vision that they see in their mind. And the whole point of the crew is to bring it to life. I always tell my students, the reason we do these layouts after we do our script is because it's a cheat sheet. It's going to save you time. So rather than spending 30 to 50 minutes trying to figure out what kind of shots you want when you arrive on a set, you're spending 10 minutes because you already have it all written down. You're really just setting it up and doing it. For the AODA approach, I found in terms of accessibility, it also went very hand in hand with the UDL teaching methodology. If we're teaching to all, we're less likely to miss some. So by making the UDL approach in my lessons, it really has made it more accessible to students. If they miss a lesson, it's not that big of a deal because it's always readily available for them online, not to mention the various other factors, such as I give in-class and out-of-class explanations. If a student messages me and they're like, I just don't get this, I will take the time to try and re-explain it to them. I include resources in my links for my documents for the actual projects. I'll send them additional links if they're still not really comprehending what I'm trying to explain to them. I also really encourage peer-to-peer learning. I've really seen that it makes a positive impact when a peer explains something to a student who I know really understands the key concepts that we're trying to get them to understand. And just, it's really magical to see them step up and want to help each other so willingly. And all of this kind of wraps up, to me at least, into a humanistic approach, because ultimately, if you are putting in the attention to detail and care that these students deserve, you're going to notice this student needs more of an in-person, hands-on experience, where this student just needs the document and they like having the resources and they like doing it in their own time. Everybody has their own way of doing things. In terms of physical accessibility, we do have a student here who requires the elevator because they don't have they can't use the stairs. And due to this, we understand that there's some limitations. So for example, when they need to get their camera gear, I volunteer to grab it for them and sign it out for them. So it saves them time rather than 10 minutes for them to go and try and grab it and bring it back. It takes me 1 minute and they're able to start getting back into what they need to do much faster. As well as peers reach out and also help this student. I allow them to bring in friends that have a spare, so that way they have more help and more aid. I'm also fortunate in the regard that one of my first period students has that fourth period as a spare, so they always come in and help out the other students as much as they possibly can because that's just who they are as a person. They like to help other people. I also do live demonstrations. I re-review all of my content consistently. I find that it really helps solidify everything that we're just trying to get, and then I can go around with my observations and see what students are still not getting some key concepts and figure out how I can make it more approachable and engaging to get their attention and have that puzzle moment where everything clicks together, leading to a aha, oh, it really wasn't that hard, I just needed to approach it in a different manner. It's taught me a lot, just again, really reinforcing the fact that because I learned something a certain way doesn't mean another student is going to learn it the exact same way that I did when I was younger. I also think it's important to use appropriate, approachable language. If I am out here and I say to my students, I'm using a Socratic approach, they're not going to likely know what that means, right? Instead, if I say to them, I'm going to give you all of the information you need to know, I'd like you to try and figure it out on your own. And if you have any questions, then you can ask me, because we're really trying to test your skills to see how you're able to critically think and problem solve. Amazing. The majority will understand that. And then the rest that don't, I get when I go by and I do my little check-ins, because I have found the check-ins to be a valuable tool. Rather than singling somebody out when they raise their hand in class, they can talk to me more privately and we can go over more in depth what they're needing to get out of the conversation. I decided not to apply for the LTO position that was in Woodstock, as it also had a line of auto in there. I wouldn't be counted for my hours, and I wouldn't feel comfortable teaching that at this moment because I don't really have a vast majority of expertise in this field particular. But it has led to some good news. Fingers crossed that I get this LTO position that I know will be getting posted toward the end of February at Montcalm. I happen to know the supply teacher who's friends with that teacher and know that he's getting his hip replaced, so he'll be out for the rest of the semester. It works out really nicely for me. It means I'll be able to finish my practicum time here at Beal, which I have thoroughly been enjoying. I can genuinely say that I love the staff and the students. The entire culture and just feeling that this school gives me is so wonderful. I wish I could stay here. The staff wishes I could stay here. The students wish I could stay here. It's just an unfortunate happenstance that there's no lines for me at the moment. Here's to another semester. Best of luck to everybody with their exams. I'm Sydney Badinsky, and this is me saying goodbye.
Now